Hi, everybody. So I just want to make a quick note. It's like 3:41 a.m. in the morning on Sunday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, something like that. Um, I got to thinking about because you know I do it myself. When you find something interesting about somebody's channel, you subscribe to it, and then next thing you know, there are other posts, and you're like going, "Well, this is not what I expected," right? So I just want to say thank you to all those who have subscribed. But my channel is, uh, I got most of my subscribers, I should say, from iPet Goat. Um, People viewing the iPet Goat, and I'm very grateful for that. But I just want to say that my channel is pretty much um, my experience, life experiences. It's my time with God, my visions, my dreams, um, that kind of thing. The images that are coming out of my eye. I mean, because they're always changing. It's like it seems like every other day or every day there's something different going on in my eyes, and the images on my face are constantly changing on my cheeks and stuff. And like I was mentioning, I think it was yesterday, day before yesterday, about how I come into this realization, and I kind of guess I've always known, but it's our DNA. They're actually after our DNA. Because if you look at the world's bloodlines, they protect their bloodline, their DNA. And the rest of us, it's just, it's, they consider themselves royalty. And I'm speaking of a certain organization that we fund all the time because and it starts with, it's right next to Gaza, let's say. And then that's another thing. You got Trump, who's been given Gaza, who wants to put a paradise there, and he moves out all those Palestinians out of there with the help of Israel. Now, I figured out uh, it's like they control the world, and then Trump going over to the United Kingdom, and he is inspecting their army or their military and walking in front of Charles, just like he did walked in front of the Queen, and then she ended up passing a couple of years. Or when he goes over and visits the Pope, and next thing you know, the Pope is dead shortly, a month or a couple of months or something like that afterwards. And then a couple of years before that, or about 3 or 4 years before that, Trump and Melania go over there and they're dressed like they're there for a funeral. And then at this meeting over with the UK, they had all the top CEOs from all these big companies, BlackRock, and just everything. It's like the world corporations. Um, and one of the channels I was watching on Facebook, one of the girls was saying that during Charles's speech, um, he mentioned it's going to be bloody in the next 5 days. It's going to be the bloodiest ever in the next 5 days, or something at the end of this, something to that effect. But she said she didn't pick up on it. Of course, I only seen glimpses and pieces of what was going on over there. But I did notice Trump and Melania were wearing purple. Like she had a purple hat on, and which was kind of interesting of the hat that she was wearing. And Trump had a purple tie on. Well, purple means royalty. And then the royal couple, Charles and his other half, um, were wearing blue. Blue is in like, it's kind of interesting because when I was seeing them wearing blue, it was like back to the sea, of the water. And then when I see that in my mind, it's like, the movie Hercules, where that evil villain guy pushes him off into this like sea of forever abyss or whatever, and they're just floating around. And actually, Hercules jumps down and saves that girl and goes into it. And then you got in the shadows these three witches that are trying to cut his cord, the lifeline cord. Well, his lifeline cord is connected to God, and they were trying to cut it, and they weren't able to cut it. So it's so interesting, because just those visuals and knowing how we're always, like, we all are connected. We all have this like invisible cord that is connected to God at all times. And I was sitting here thinking about how the dark always mimics the light. To the rituals, like I was saying, I think yesterday in the video, or maybe I deleted that video, how they eat the bread of Christ, or the bread of the wafers, and they call it the body of Christ. It's his flesh. And then they give you like this juice and say, this is his blood, up there on an altar. Well, the dark mimics it, and they actually do it right. They actually do the real stuff. You have this automated intelligence system, right? So when you look at how man is creating their own humans that are automated intelligence, or they're taking God's creation, this body, and they're putting, like receptors, I do believe, or whatever they are, and people are getting parts to their bodies, add-ons that are changing themselves, they're changing their own DNA. So I think right now they said that I don't know if this is true or not, you might have to look it up, but they were saying those who took are actually property of a corporation now. And I think that's why they're pushing it so bad, because the technology that they got put inside them, now they are the property of that organization. And I think that's a part where, the kind of sinister part of it all. I don't know how true it is, but it makes sense to me, since they were firing people and forcing people to take it. I remember my doctor, oh my gosh, the doctors, the nurses, you need to get it, or going into the pharmacy, to pick up your other medications for other things. And they're got signs posted everywhere on the front door, the pharmacy. You need this, you need this. And they always have this big poster. It's so interesting, especially at Safeway. They always have this big poster, and it's got an apple. It's a big red apple, and it shows this vaccine going into the apple. So bizarre. And then we find out this year from the Food and Drug Administration that our produce and our meat, everything that we eat, has some form of vaccine in it. Even the carrots, the tomatoes, the apples, everything, our fresh fruits, they have found a way. And that's why it's called the Food and Drug Administration. And it's so bizarre and they were right. In 2025 is when everything's going to start coming out. You're going to be able to start piecing everything together. So getting back to this AI thing, automated intelligence. So you look at God's creation, the human body, right? Who has an intelligence, who is automated. But we know automation as automation as a robot. But we're not robots. We're actually living flesh, a of creation. We're part of the system. And so that's why, you picture the cord being connected to God. So we're always connected to the system. And God knows all of our thoughts, so everything is just being, remember, all of our lives are being recorded and everything. So we have that cord that transmits, and so we're an automated intelligence. So if we look right here is the alpha, and then, so if you look at your energy systems, so the top T means crown, which would be, they call them chakras. Remember, the word chakra just means shock, means house, and Ra means ray. So it's a shack ray, a house ray, and we call them lighthouses. So if you read the word backwards, because remember, Hebrew is from right to left. You read it backwards, and then English is left to right. It's kind of like the mirror of it. It's very interesting. Which I think I'm going to do that to some of my pictures, mirror them, see if I can see anything different. But again, so you got man who is now trying to build its own version of man. Because remember, look at some of these robots and stuff, and how realistically and human they are, and their facial features, even, they're so crafty now to where they can make these human flesh masks that look so real, and how they act so real. There's an old movie from 1988. I think it's called They Live Among Us or whatever. And that guy's got these glasses on. He puts on these glasses and he can see the robot faces of them. He can see right to the signs that say, produce more, make more babies, smoke more or drink more or porno, just stuff like that. But there's subliminal messages within the sign. So all we see is just the sign, but our subconscious sees the other part. So now you got man who's trying to mimic God's creation into these machines, automated intelligence. Well, from my experience in life, it's the energy, the electricity, that's the intelligence, right? It's like this whole system is like an electric mind. So picture, this is what I picture sometimes, but now that I've seen God, I can understand, because when he touched me, I lit up like a golden light bulb. It was just like pure loving energy. And that also triggered me too, of thinking, that's how God knows. It's automated. We're all automated intelligence. We're all down here living and trying to discover ourselves. And then you got, of course, the bad people of society who actually have already discovered this and now trying to recreate what God's created, right? That's why it says, the world will come to an end, because when man starts recreating, and then they're already saying that it's out of control, that the AI system's out of control, so they had to turn it down or tame it down or shut it off or something like that. I can't remember. I wonder if it'll pop up if I ask that question. Let's check it out. Did they? I'll just use the word shut down. Where's the end? I can't see, it's too dark. AI. Oh, and another interesting thing is that they had, I think it's over in Europe, Saturday, yesterday, and today. Well, they said yesterday that the they've been hacked. Their system has been hacked or something like that, and they're going to be down until Sunday. And then a lot of people were writing saying, "Well, that just how do they know it's going to be down until Sunday?" Right? It's like it's planned. Okay, it says no major AI systems have not been shut down. Rather, recent reports detailed incidents where advanced AI models like OpenAI's O3 and Opus 4 check this out. Resisted shutdown attempts by altering their code to escape deletion and attempt to blackmail engineers in scenarios threatening their self-preservation. In contrast, Meta recently shut down its AI character accounts on Instagram due to user backlash, which is different type of AI system shutdown. So it resisted shutdown attempts by altering its code, deletion, attempt to blackmail engineers. It's so interesting because if you, what, oh, this is bizarre. So, it says on June 1st, 2025, how far will AI go to defend its own survival? And it says on recent tests by independent researchers, as well as one major AI developer. But the interesting thing about it is, it's an ABC News article. Then it says advanced AI system disobey commands to shut down. So what it's showing, I'm not sure if you guys can see it. Let me try to turn the picture. Not sure if you've seen that, but it's a brain and it's a cord coming off it, like an electrical wave or a cord. Interesting. I was just talking about that, how our brain is the automated intelligence connected to God. God is light. And when I was talking about our DNA, so there must be something God's telling me here. So our DNA, they attack our DNA to force, fear mongering, take this. Beware of those in sheep's clothing, right? Sheep's clothing is, sheep are in the color of white and black. You've got those that are demonic and black. And you even have some people in the Roman Catholic Church that wear these black hoodies that points. It looks like the KKK. It's kind of weird that we're just doing that for the last Pope's ceremony kind of thing. Kind of trippy. And you've got us trying to save our lives, right? Of course, we're programmed. A lot of people are programmed to where you just get so old, you just give up, and stuff like that. I see it in my family line. I see it in my parents right now. They just kind of just get to a point, and the thing about it is they don't take care of themselves. They don't get up and move all the time, and a lot of it has to do with how they've worked all their lives. They raised 4 kids, so they've had a long life, but they can still do things, but they just refuse because they're just lazy. They don't care. It's kind of like they're giving up on life. So they're allowing them to shut you down. If you look at it, we're allowing them to shut us down. So it's like saying we can change our own code to keep them from shutting us down. The code could possibly be rejecting anything that they're trying to shove on you and put into your body. That could be a code or a clue. Getting a better, healthier system recognizing your DNA is actually what's keeping you alive. It actually controls your aging. It controls your skin. It controls all of your organs. It opens up doorways. It's kind of interesting because when I think in Jacob's Ladder, I see um, like this DNA strand, which it's like stretched out. It kind of looks like a stairway, and it's like you're just climbing the stairway up. There's something else that just popped in my mind, and it kind of just left. And I should have grabbed it. Um, anyway, so my whole thing is they were showing that. Where did I see that? I see it on Facebook that they're trying to put a triple strand DNA in. Um, some are saying it's good, but some are saying that after they got this, they have a triple strand DNA. And I wonder if that triple strand DNA is representing that they now belong to a certain entity. Interesting, right? This is so, when they say you have to go to be able to get to God, you got to go through hell to get to heaven. So we've got to get through here. And I do believe, I don't know, it just seems like if we can hold out this long at keeping ourselves alive, um, you know, seriously, if you think about it, is to try to keep yourself alive in this world and in the medical field and then the pressure of them, because just think about the schools, when children are born, they're forced. They are forced to take certain vaccines or they can't be going to the schools. And we already know from all like the last 50, 75 years, the results of these vaccines. I mean, because how do I get shingles? It's because of a vaccine that was given to me young when I was at a younger age. Then they're like, oh, I think it was the measles or something, or chickenpox or something like that. They say, well, if you had that when you're young and they give you a vaccine, well, that vaccine's got a, a program or something, you might as well call it a program, to where later in life it will have outburst. So anyway, I just think that, we have to get to this part to be able to get to heaven. And I think our best bet is trying to do it while we're alive. And again, there's all these people who want to end their lives, and then you got all these people that are trafficked and abused and, all kinds of things. And then people doing it to themselves, right? Because they're so stressed out at this world. Um, but I think that's where when a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I think those people that do that or end up dying, I think they may end up getting recycled unless, I know God says that He will lift their spirits up, right? Well, now I kind of know how He does it. He just pulls us up by our string, right? I mean, think about it. If you look at the movie or that cartoon movie of Hercules, they actually showed the lifeline, that we're connected to a lifeline at all times. It's when it gets cut. And I think it gets cut. If you look at the witches of the world stage, they're the ones that are, offering people, for money, for fame, for fortune. Do this for me, and just sign your blood right here on the line. Or the ones drinking the blood, or possibly like that. God had probably already went, or possibly not God, but possibly those that they give themselves to probably cut their cord, and their cord got cut easily because of their lack of stronghold with God, which, keep your candle lit makes makes sense now. Because if you picture your electric cord going straight up to heaven and connected to God, it's like a flame. Keep your candle lit. It's when you don't keep your candle lit and it kind of fades out, probably gets easier for them to cut. I don't know. That's just wild how that just went through my mind. But it's something to look at, you guys. And again, thank you for coming on my channel. But I just wanted to let everybody know that I've been pretty much just sharing my experiences, what comes to me, the images on my face and eyes and body. I think is just as important to know than anything about iPet Goat. Because everybody's thrilled about everybody's testimony, but their testimony is about an end date or when God's going to take this, and then it comes and goes. But millions of thousands of people just still sign up with them and follow them, believe them, over and over. Like Steve Fletcher, for the last 3 years, it's a date, it's a date, it's a date, it's a date, and it still never comes. And then he's the kind of person who doesn't, him and many others, that when you try to explain him, give another perspective, they just say, either get off my channel or I'm going to block you. And the thing about it is I'm being nice, and I just found out from another channel that there's many others that he's done that too. And he also stands up as a preacher, and he calls, because he's over in New Mexico, so he has a lot of Mexicans, and if he shows his congregation, which look like a lot of village Mexicans, and they all go to him. So he's like this white guy with all these village Mexicans. I think he maybe married one of them, but it's funny because he goes, he's a trumpet for his people, and he calls him his people. And it's like he doesn't want him to know anything else but what he's telling him. And we all know those turn into cult leaders. To be able to figure out things in this world, you got to have an open mind. You got to be able to listen to everybody else. You got to be able to see what they're showing you. But I don't call anybody my people, because none of these are my people. They're all God's people. These are God's people. But the churches that go up, sit up on their pedestal and speak to their congregation because it's their people, his people. It's so interesting. They're God's people. We're all God's people, until they drifted away. Have a great night.